Today I'm going to talk about perturbation, some basic introduction. As you know, using Motek devices, you can do this type of perturbation, lateral, up and down, and if you have car and other types as well as are possible, even to the treadmill itself. So for the first and the beginning of learning more about perturbation, let's just try to have, for instance, the profile. Say against time what type of profile is your emotion base or your treadmill, for instance, can go. Let me show you how it looks like, and then we will take it from there. So this is the basic app that I created for you. We'll recreate this one from the beginning and just have a quick look at it, of what is happening, and then we'll talk about the details as we go. So here is the system, for instance, simulation of the platform. All right. And you have the parameters if you do console. So I've created perturbation, yes or no, for instance, here. And then you have a generator that creates the signal. You can write your own equation here if you know of it, and you can have different types of equations and conditions, as we talked about it before. And in the meantime, you can have a look at what is really happening. It's always recommended to do your perturbation studies on the flow, like on your own computer or with the other subject, and using like graphs and everything. Make sure that everything is working properly, because they could be quite dangerous if you have subject and you don't really you haven't checked all the details. Anyway, so let's just start. For instance, this is car system, and we have engaged the system, and then start. Okay. So at this point, there is not much happening. And when we do the perturbation, you can see that the perturbation begins, as you can see. And even here, things are showing up. How this is because this is sinus of time. So this is going the sinus of time. And when I do the stop perturbation, it just stops. Again, you can do that. Create the perturbation, and it would recreate it. For some reason, this is not working. It should work. Action. Oh, because it is neutral. Okay, so that's interesting part, because I stopped it, so it stopped. Okay, so these are all the details that you need to know before the experiment. So it has to be engaged so that your system works, right? Did you notice I did the perturbation, but nothing happened? So when I said stop, it comes back to neutral. Okay, so you can work around that in your code, but engage the system, and then perturb, and perturbation begins. Right. So let's try to recreate this one. Let's just start over, for instance, from the beginning. You notice that we need, for instance, a graph just to show what's happening, and you want to have your platform. You want to have a generator, and the generator goes to the platform, and we can click this and delete this one. And your channel, for instance, in media lateral port, you can actually have that, and you can double check that, see that this is not working. The reason being is this is a generator. Again, the idea is because it's off, right? So it's engaged, and then everything works, right? Anyway, we stop it. So what we want to do is we want to have checks, say perturb or not perturb. So we start an event, and we have we need to have a parameter. So that's which is basically this, and double click on it. And you can create different things like button, or let's talk about checkbox. Call it perturb, and then by default it's unchecked. And then add this to your events, which means that when this happens, it's like an if and then, right? The perturbation to the first I, which means here we can have a condition. Say I1 is 1, and basically is checked is on, and enter again, and always checking it, and make sure this is like we're giving it action, right? An action, and this action should be given to your generator as well. So it's play here, and you can actually stop from the very beginning. So it's not going to work. The generator is not going to work from there when you start the application. So everything else is fine. And if you stop it, so this would stop basically one action, If not, stop all the time, right? The rest, this is going there, fine. And graph is just to double check what is happening, right? The generator, what it creates. Everything is connected. You can actually delete everything else. Let's have a look at the first one, for instance, because we're dealing with the first part of generator, okay? So let's test it, see if it works. Where we here F2, and then you see that it is engaged. All right, so we have this perturbation. So when you begin, nothing happens. And when you perturb, you can see that this is working, right? And your graph also shows that. When I stop it, it should stop, comes back. So we make sure this is another critical one, because I haven't designed it properly for a subject, but you see that when I start, it's actually, because in neutral games it's a stars, but when I do the stop, it comes back quickly to the center. So how can you fix this? This is maybe your one of the quizzes that you can have. And another one that you can have a look is basically, we talked about all these things. Let's just close them. How about, these are the questions that some of you have had before as well. If you have different types of perturbation, acceleration, deceleration, different types of speeds, like you want to change the speed, something like this, basically, graph. How can you do that? So tell us more about this, and we will discuss this further as we go.